Our numbers collection and sorter are now perfect, so let's do a quick test here just to make sure everything works as expected. I'm back inside of index.ts. You'll notice I no longer have an error around numbers collection.sort. We don't need the sorter anymore, so I'm going to delete that commented out code. I'm then going to uncomment the console log for numbers collection.data. And then finally, I'm going to comment out all the linked list stuff down here. Okay, so I'll save this file. I'm going to go back over to my terminal. Let's just make sure we get the right result. And yep, we sure do. So that looks good. So now the next thing we need to do is refactor characters collection and linked list to extend our sorter. And that should be a really, really easy process because they already satisfy all these abstract method requirements. All right, so let's start with characters collection. So inside of here at the very top, I'm going to import sorter from sorter. And then on characters collection, I'm going to say this is going to extend sorter. Once again, I get an error around the constructor because we are extending from another class that might have a defined constructor. We don't, but it might, which means we have to call super like so. And then that error goes away. So now characters collection has access to the sort method directly on it. Now we can repeat that same process for linked list as well. So inside of linked list TS at the very top, I will import sorter from sorter. I'll find the linked list class definition, and I'll say this is going to extend sorter. You'll notice that we don't get any error inside of here around any constructor. That's because the linked list doesn't define a constructor. If the child class doesn't define a constructor, we don't have to call super. Sorter's constructor will be automatically called for us instead. Okay, so now we can save this as well, and I'm going to close linked list. I'm going to close characters collection, and I'm going to close numbers collection, and we're going to do one last test inside of index.ts. All right, so we'll test out first characters collection. So I'm going to comment out numbers. I'm going to uncomment characters. I'm going to delete all that sorter stuff that we don't need anymore. I'm going to make sure that I call sort on characters collection. There we go. And now we should be able to save this and make sure that our characters got sorted appropriately. Yep, looks good. And now finally, I'll comment out that stuff and then repeat the same process for linked list. You'll notice that when I uncomment this, we get an error around new sorter right here. Again, that's because sorter is now an abstract class and we are not allowed to create an instance of an abstract class. So I'm going to delete all that sorter stuff. I'll call linked list.sort to actually sort it. And then again, we can save this, flip back over, and we see the sorted values in the linked list. Awesome. All right, so that's basically it. That's like quite a refactoring journey here around this application. We really twisted this thing around quite a bit, starting off first with a bad implementation and then going over to interfaces and then finally settling on abstract classes. Now you might be thinking that by using the abstract class, I'm essentially saying, hey, like we don't need to use interfaces because we're going to use this abstract class thing instead. Well, that's really not what I'm saying here. At the end of the day, interfaces still are super key to TypeScript. And like I said so many times throughout this course, they are super key to you to understanding what is going on, even when we are using abstract classes. So you'll notice that we still have the interface inside of here, but we are not actually using it. So let's take a quick break and kind of resolve what is going on here and do a little bit of compare and contrast between interfaces and abstract classes.